man, we rolling.
Welcome to Big Boy Crypto. My name is Ben. Today, we're going to be talking about DOT. Actually, that kind of looks like a boo. Let me erase that. Listen, guys, here's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about DOT. Oh my gosh, what a mess. What a mess. DOT. I did a video on Friday where I talked about how I felt like DOT was probably maybe not dead, but dying. I'm going to explain to you guys why I said that. I'm going to stick up for myself a little bit on this and explain my viewpoint behind it and why historically what I said is true, accurate historically. And then I'll explain what the move that Gavin Wood has made and why it's a little bit different in the context of what we usually see with CEOs stepping down. Okay, this is not going to be a long video. But here's the thing. You have DOT. Okay, DOT technically is like a layer zero, right? So it's an infrastructure. Layer zero, it's a little nitpicky to me. I would still probably call it a layer one, just blanket it in with Ethereum and Cardano, but the DOT people want to make sure I put layer zero, okay? So what you have underneath this here is you have the Polkadot network, okay? And I'm gonna kind of use Cardano because a lot of people watch the channel know Cardano. I'm gonna kind of use this as, I'm supposed to say network, not never, network. I'm gonna use Cardano's infrastructure kind of as a comparison here, okay? So you have the Polkadot network, kind of like you have the Cardano network, okay? Cardano network. Now, behind Cardano, you have Emergo, you have IOHK or IOG, not IOG at this point. IOHK is Hong Kong, G's Global, whatever, same company. And then you also have the Cardano Foundation. I don't know what's going on with the Cardano Foundation anymore. I haven't paid attention to it in a while. They did have some problems at one point. I don't know if they straightened them out. I don't know if it's not a major player anymore. I'm sure somebody in the Cardano community can drop that down below. But these are basically three companies that create the Cardano network. Obviously, you know, Charles works over here for IOG. Cardano Foundation kind of supposed to be kind of for marketing, I think is what it was originally. IOG, I think, is the biz dev arm, I think, and then Emergo is the tech. Whatever it is, it's close enough. People get, they all three have a different role that they play in creating Cardano. Now with Polkadot, you'll have one. It's called Parity. Parity is the company behind Polkadot. Okay. Now we have Charles Hoskinson over here, right? Everybody knows Charles Hoskinson. He's the CEO, I think, of IOG. Technically, it's his role. Over here, you had a interim CEO, which was one Mr. Gavin Wood. I invite Gavin. If Gavin wants to come on the channel, I'd love to have Gavin on the channel to talk about this. Some people don't like it because they know I've probably made fun of Gavin's haircut too much. Well, you know, it worked out when I made fun of Sam's haircut, didn't it? But Gavin's, people don't like it. I think he's got a new haircut. So, you know, if he's got a new haircut, he'd definitely love to come on. But doing an interview with Gavin Wood, just so you guys know, it does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. Like, it's not like, oh, if I get this big interview with Gavin Wood, like, all these people are going to watch it. I don't give an F about that. It means nothing to me. I'd like to have Gavin on just so he can talk about this change and he can talk about Polkadot. It's good for the Polkadot community. That's who it's good for. So if Gavin comes on the show, great. I'd love to have him, love to host him, love to get to the truth of what happened and why it's good or bad. But, you know, if anybody knows Gavin Wood, wants to reach out, I can't reach out to him. I don't have his information. Tell him we would love to have him on the channel. We'd love to talk about it. I've even got Polkadot on my shirt here, but dun, dun, dun. Okay, so there we go. The reason why I put all this up here with Cardano is just so you guys understand the structure, how it's kind of similar to the structure of Polkadot, okay? What happened here? Gavin Wood stepped down from this CEO role, okay? Now the CEO role, it was the interim CEO, okay? It had to do with biz dev, basically, okay? Biz dev, marketing, things like that. I don't know if you've ever seen Gavin Wood talk or you've ever listened to him. He's not like a super rah kind of guy, okay? This is no Tony Robbins up on stage getting people hyped up, okay? Well, what is Gavin Wood? He's a tech guy. So what did he step down into? Now he stepped down into, I don't know if he's technically lead architect. I would assume he is. But basically what he's done is he stepped back into the tech side. He's now back on the tech side. Charles Hoskinson, by the way, said this was great. This was a good thing. And this is what I want to say, okay? Here's my issue. You look at this, you have a tech guy stepping down from a business world to go back down to the tech. It seems like a good decision. It seems like it's something that can be positive. When this isn't what he's good at, he's good at this, right? But here are the questions I have. And I'd love for Gavin to answer these. Here's a question. Number one, okay, what is the confidence level in current tech team? What is that noise going on? Is that on a phone or something? It's on your phone.
Is my phone on large?
Your phone's autoplay, Michael.
Oh, it's autoplay.
Yeah, you guys got some cool, sports stuff going on there. So, what's the confidence level in the current tech team? What does that say about the state of tech with Polkadot? Maybe it just says, Gavin really wants to go back to it. That'd be like if I took over as the CEO here at Bitcoin Crypto, and I wasn't doing videos anymore, and then one day I was like, yeah, I want to go back and do videos. People be like, that's cool, that's a good move. But why did I have to step down? What was going on with the current team? Is it because I'm passionate and I want to go back to it, which is what I love doing? Or was it because they couldn't crack it, so I had to come over and take all the videos? And I think that's the real question I want to know. What is the confidence level in this? The second question is, what does history say? Okay? If you start going through the list of projects that have, and look, Polkadot people, I'm not against you. I'm not against you. Well, I have Polkadot back. What does history say? What does history say? What does the Fox say? What does history say? That's horrible. Let me rewrite that. History says when CEOs step down, whether they move to an advisor role, a board role, a lower position, so far in crypto, it hasn't worked out, okay? Usually they're stepping down. Your Dan Larimer stepped down from 74 companies in crypto. They always fail after he leaves. Justice Hunt stepped down to go be an ambassador, but he's still really actually in charge of the project if people look at that. Charles Hoskins is still there, doing great. Vitalik's still there. Charles Hoskins and Gavin Wood, not CEOs, but co-founders, stepped down from Ethereum. It's struggled ever since in a lot of different ways. And you really start going down the list and you start saying, what's the only project that's in the top 50, at least the top 20, that had a CEO step down or a founder step down that's done well? It's going to actually shock you here. It's Dogecoin. No, not Elon Musk as the CEO. Jackson Palmer stepped down, and his business partner, whoever was the number 2 guy. They both stepped down, but it's only doing well because of Elon Musk. Now, look, you can say this is different. You can say, well, he stepped down from interim CEO of Parity, and now he's becoming the lead architect. It's different. That's fine. I'll listen to that argument. We'll see how it plays out. I hope you're right. I hope it is different. History has said, when this happens in crypto, it's not been good. Great, and this is the outlier. But I'm just telling you, that's what history says. And the number 3 thing, and the last thing I would touch on here is project experience. So I talked to a few projects. Once again, I'm not trying to FUD Polkadot. I've talked to at least 2 projects that were originally launched on Polkadot, or they wanted to be launched on Polkadot. And neither one of them are building there anymore. One's built their own chain, one moved to another chain. So what's the project experience here? What is that like if we see some that are no longer building there? And for me, I don't know 74 projects that are like, oh, we love building on Polkadot. I've just talked to 2 that left, so maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's just I've heard this, and so I've taken that information, and maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake. But I want to know, what do you guys think about Polkadot? Look, I'm certainly willing to listen to this argument. When this guy broke down to me a little bit more about exactly what happened, how Parity's involved and all this, and how he's just not good at this stuff, maybe that's actually why the price has been struggling a little bit more than some of the other projects, or it didn't get as high in the bull run as we thought it would get. Maybe with someone else in that position, it'll do better. So I'm open. I'm open to listen to that. But ultimately, we're just going to have to see how it all shakes out. And I want to know what your thoughts are on Polkadot. Drop that down below in the chat. And yeah, let's see where this thing goes. That's all I got. Be blessed. Bye-bye.